So, a long time ago, I heard a story about a suicidal man that was walking home and he was going to hang himself when he got home. But a stranger waved at him, and because of that stranger's kindness, when that man got home, he decided not to kill himself and start looking for ways to better his life. I've looked for this story online everywhere and I can't find it anywhere I look when I search it up. I don't know if it's a true story, but what I do know is true is that I have been severely depressed most of my life. I was diagnosed with depression when I was 13, and then I was traumatized deeply as a child, and my depression grew into a very severe depression, especially considering I had PTSD. And then in my adult life, I had more instances that triggered my PTSD and made my PTSD even worse. I have crippling PTSD, is what I'm trying to tell you. So 5 years ago, I decided, using that story as inspiration, to start waving at everybody, because I never know if, someone I walk by on the daily is going through it as well. And, I moved at that time from a different community, and in the community I had been in prior to the one I'm in now, nobody acknowledged anybody. I'd go on walks every day, and the person walking by you, our neighbors, would pretend like you didn't even exist, and it felt like your presence offended them if you were on the street the same time they were. So I decided, I moved into this new neighborhood, and it was a newer neighborhood. Houses are still being built to this day down the street from where I live. So I decided I was going to start waving at everybody, because you never know, maybe I could save someone from suicide. And so I wave at every person I see, and I really love it. Most people I wave to love it. Some people get super excited when they see me coming, and they give me the biggest smiles, and they return the waves. Some people wave at me, and they honk their cars. So if you're walking by, if you're driving by, I don't care. You're getting a wave. Some people, say I'm walking down a really long block, they'll circle the block in their car multiple times. This one time, I had a dude circle me 4 times to get waves every time he drove by, and I was like, hey, you're doing this because you want more than one wave. Why are you circling the block so many times? And a lot of people, even if they don't smile back, a lot of people will return to me a great big smile. And seeing that smile just makes me so happy. It's enough to make my bad day turn better. Whenever I'm having a bad day, I'll just go on a walk and I'll wave at several of my neighbors. And several of them usually now have waved back. There's always that situation where you're walking down the street and you see someone wave at you and you're like, is that person waving at me, or are they waving at the person behind me? I guarantee you I'm waving at you. And at first it was really awkward for me to wave at everybody, but I grew to really love it, and now I can't imagine not doing it. And I can tell that some people, they do feel that awkwardness when I wave at them, but a lot of them, especially my closer neighbors that I see every day, have grown accustomed to it. And if I don't wave at them, they look at me funny, like, why isn't he waving? What is going on? Is he all right? So it makes me feel better about my day to wave at everybody. I will say, there are some people who are very visibly annoyed that I wave at them. But I feel that kindness never hurts anyone, and it's just a wave. So I still wave at them anyway because I want to be kind to them. It was a social experiment I started, and it's been going really well for me. I've met a lot of my neighbors in the area just by waving at them. There'll be some that'll stop me on my walks for a conversation. There's this man that I see every day. He walks 15,000 steps every day, and I've got to know him really well just because I waved at him every time I saw him. My neighbor across the street just came over and helped us with our water heater and flushing it out because I waved at him when I first saw him, and I continued to wave at him every time I saw him. And so I've grown real deep connections with my neighbors, and this was something that I didn't have at all. I lived at my last house close to 15 years, and I didn't know anybody in that neighborhood. I know so many people in the neighborhood I live in now because I waved to them. And it takes some courage to get over it, because there's always the social interaction of what if they don't wave back? And I realized I don't care if they don't wave back. I'm not doing this because I want something from them. I'm doing this because I want them to feel good. And if I meet someone that's suicidal and I don't know the struggles they're going through, I'm hoping that my wave can be the kindness that prevents them from hurting themselves that day. And so that is why I wave at everybody I see. And it's really a really great way to meet people. In fact, I'm taking a woman I waved at tons of times this summer who just moved into the neighborhood on a date on Saturday. And to tell you the truth, she's the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen with my own physical eyes in my life. And I got that confidence from waving at everybody. You start to realize that being kind to people invites more people into your life, and that these people that once I saw myself as like way below everybody's league, and why would anyone ever bother me? But by waving at everybody, I've met so many people that it's become accustomed to me just to be friendly to everyone I see. And I'm not expecting much with this date, but I'm hoping it all goes well. And even if it doesn't, I'll still wave to her if I see her. I'm not going to let that stop me from being a kind person. And I would encourage anybody watching this video, if you are depressed, I would start waving at everyone you see. It'll be really awkward at first, and you'll feel really embarrassed when people don't wave back. But if you keep waving at these people, because I'm certain if you're on a walk in your neighborhood, you'll see these people more than once. If you keep waving at them, it will invite them to start being friendly back to you. And you never know. You could save someone's life just with a simple wave.